Hey there, guys, and a big welcome back to the Blaze TV podcast. It's Kimberley and Stu Coles from Blaze TV, and our guest on this edition, a familiar face, having played last year just a little bit up the road there in Sheffield. Glad he's on our side for this season, though. It's Danny Kristo. Danny, a big welcome to Coventry. And listen, it's only going to be about a week before we get to say that in person.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I think had a good summer working out and skating back here in Minnesota, but I'm really excited to get there and get things going. So yeah, I can't wait to get the door moving. So
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think we're all starting to get the buzz going. Things are starting to happen. The houses are starting to get put together. Gears starting to pile up in Ethan's room. So yeah, we're all kind of just itching to get the next couple of weeks out of the way with. But hey, listen, I hope you don't mind, but we're gonna take you down a little trip down memory lane if you don't mind, as a way of introducing you to the fans.
yeah, no problem.
All right, well, I'm going to start way back if you don't mind, Bud, because you're one of the lucky guys that got to go through the U.S. national team development program, which succinctly is where they try and take the best American players and gear them up to life in pro hockey. And you were surrounded by some incredible talent there, and I mean, just describe that program to the guys at home.
Yeah, it's a 2-year program, so usually goes by birth year. So I'm born 1990, so they try to get the best 22 players in the time, to go and play in a 2-year development program. The first year mostly just playing mostly junior teams and stuff like that, and then your second year 3 or 4 different international tournaments, and then also quite a few exhibition games versus college teams. It's a little bit different back then than it is now. And now they play in the USHL, which is the
Yep.
top tier junior league in the US. But when I was there, we played in the NAHL, which is just one step below. But I loved it there, and it was really good for me. So
Yeah, for sure. And I didn't realize that you guys got to play exhibition games against college teams, which is really interesting, isn't it? Kind of playing a little bit outside of that bubble that I guess you'd expect.
yeah, I think definitely anytime you can, 16, 17 years old and play, some of the top college teams. Like when I was there, we played, Minnesota, St. Cloud, Duluth, big teams like that. So it really gets you ready, for your next stop in your hockey career. For me, it was college after that. Some guys obviously take the major junior out, but for me, I went to college, so it really prepared me going into college as a freshman. So
Yeah, for sure. Before you ended up at UND, though, you got picked up in the draft, second round to Montreal. Did you know you were going to get picked up early, and did you get to head on down to the draft day?
yeah, so I think I was rated around like 35 or something. So obviously exciting time when you're 17, 18 years old. So
Oh
my dad and I went to Ottawa where the draft was held, and went to the combine and got to do all that stuff. And didn't go the first day, which was a little disappointing, but went pretty early in the second day in the second round there, and it was nice for me. Montreal didn't have a first round pick that year, so I was their first pick, so it was kind of nice just to be able to get some of that hype and stuff like that. But it was a lot of fun and cool experience to share that with my dad.
yeah, for sure. I mean, I guess it's that excitement of sitting waiting to get your name called, and presumably you would have spoke to a bunch of teams, not just Montreal.
Yeah, I think when I went to the combine, I wanted back then there was 30 teams. Obviously with Seattle and Vegas coming in, there's 32 now, but I think I had around 25 different interviews. So it was fun just to meet those teams. It's a little bit nerve wracking, and they test your buttons a little bit and try to get you see how you react to some different questions. But yeah, it was a very good experience and a lot of fun. So
And committing to UND, talk to us about that, because I mean that's a pretty great hockey program there. Some great players have come out of that. Familiar face, for example, from the Blaze, the late great Adam Calder captained UND. But what took you there? What made you commit to that program?
so I kind of always grew up in a North Dakota fan my whole life. We actually have family ties from my parents. They actually used to babysit Coach Hackstall, which was the head coach at the time, his wife. My parents used to babysit her growing up. So at the time he was kind of he was the assistant coach there, and that was when I went on my visit and everything. It was kind of just a dream come true when I got the opportunity to receive a scholarship for them. So it was kind of a no brainer for me, but it was an incredible experience.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you kind of landed with a bit of a splash, if you like. That first season you had there, WCHA conference, you were rookie of the year, and then you got to hop on a plane to the World Junior Championships, the under 20s, and picked up the gold with Team USA. That's not a bad year in the life of Danny Kristo, eh?
Yeah, that was a fun year. Yeah, just kind of going into UND. There's a lot of hype around me, so just to try to live up to those expectations was fun and stuff. And then, yeah, like you said, was fortunate enough to make the World Junior team that year, and came home with the gold medal after we beat Canada in overtime. Yeah, it was an incredible experience and something I'll never forget. Just to be able to share that experience with friends, family. My mom and dad were there, and a couple of my childhood best buddies were on the team, Jordan Schrader and stuff like that. So it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, right on. Was it a year that you actually got to enjoy as it was happening, or did it just end up like a massive whirlwind of a year?
Oh, I think anytime you have success like that, on a team, and especially to come home with a gold medal and stuff like that, and we won the Broadmoor Trophy that year at UND as well, which is the playoff championship. So we won that, and
Yep.
yeah, it's just an incredible experience to go through that at age 18, and it kind of it goes in a blink of an eye. So you really got to cherish those moments. So.
Did it make it a little bit more special that you got to play with Ben Blood as well, who's a cousin of yours, a name that Blaze fans might remember from a few years back in Cardiff?
Yeah, yeah, Bloody and I, we're technically second cousins, so yeah, it was obviously a lot of fun for our families to be able to experience that, and to play not just 1 year but 3 seasons with him was a lot of fun.
Yeah. And I mean, you made the most of your time at UND, there's no doubt. And I hope I've got all of this right, so please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was three conference tournament championships in a row. There was a conference regular season championship in there as well. I mean, you can't not look back at your UND time and be anything other than immensely proud.
Yeah, I think for sure. Probably the only regret that we have is probably not winning the national championship when I was there.
Yeah.
But most the other 4 years, and taking home, like you said, 4 trophies, and making the national tournament every year, going to the Frozen Four my sophomore year was it was awesome. It's probably that's, like I said, the only thing we didn't win when I was there was the national championship. But have lifelong friends, and I'll follow that program till I die. So it was great to me.
Yeah, it's interesting when you were able to have consecutive success at the NCAA level. You've generally got the same guys around. You'll have a couple guys go on and graduate and move on, or a couple of rooks come in. But what was it like those 3 years when you were winning? And what was different about each of those years? Because you go winning pro, you sometimes have a lot of high turnover in terms of guys coming and going, but you don't get that in the NCAA, do you? So, what was different about each of those years?
Yeah, it's obviously different because you're going to university, and like you said, unless guys are leaving early, or for the most part, you're going to play 3-4 years with a lot of the same guys. So, like for myself, I went in as a freshman. We had 10 other freshmen with me, so we were
Oh wow.
when we graduated, we had seven were there for all 4 years together. So, yeah, you obviously go into as a freshman, and you spend 4 years with someone almost every single day. So almost turns into your family and stuff like that. My roommate my freshman year's member here at the golf course, so I still see him every single day. But yeah, it was a lot of memories and a lot of great friendships.
Yeah, for sure. And it was almost, we talked about that first year with the World Junior Championships and whatnot, but your senior year was pretty special too, right? Because I think you came second overall in points across the whole NCAA. You were outscoring guys like Johnny Goudreau along the way there. And then towards the end of the year, you got to experience a little bit of pro hockey in Hamilton, which is a great place to play. But also, you got to represent USA this time as a man in the seniors, and picked up a bronze at the World Championships. I mean, you can say that, in that year, actually in those 2 years, in your first year at UND and then in your last year, that's almost a career's worth of experiences in just a couple of years, isn't it? You must feel incredibly lucky in a way that happened, because sometimes the cards don't fall that way.
Yeah, definitely. My senior year was special. We had a good team. I had a really good line mate as in Corbin Knight, who still plays in the KHL. He made the game very easy for me. He's a great player, and then I got to go to the World Championships and represent US, which was probably one of the first times in my life where I didn't have any pressure at all on me. I was kind of just a college kid and running around on the fourth line and buzzing around, but ended up having a good tournament, and fortunately the team came away with the bronze medal, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, you said you played in the in the World Championships there with almost kind of not a care in the world. But I guess, in your senior year, you loved UND. You said, you grew up a UND fan. Obviously, you won a lot there. In your senior year, were you kind of playing with a bit of a bit of a want to go out with a bang, like you went into the NCAA with a bang?
Yeah, I think definitely you want to leave a program and put a splash on it. So that senior year was a special one. Just left everything on the table, and really just took it every single game, day by day, and want to just cherish those moments. Like I said, you spend 4 years in a program, and especially a program that has that much history at North Dakota. You just really want to take it all in every single day you can. So get better every single day, work hard every day, and make those friendships last a lifetime.
Right on, Stu.
Yeah, if we pick up from there, you got traded. Your rights got traded from Montreal to New York, and you landed up with Hartford. You've 2 years there. You were top three in points both seasons and led the team in goals for your first year, and had a decent playoff run as well. The AHL is a tough league to be that consistent and successful, isn't it? To be on the top of your game night in, night out over that sort of grind.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest difference when you go college to pro is, obviously you want to play good every single game. And, in college, it's pretty easy to get up when, you play Friday, Saturday, you're only playing 40, 45 games a year. And then you go to turn pro and you're playing 76 plus games, maybe 10 exhibition and 76 regular season, then plus a playoff run. So I think that's just the biggest adjustment is, try to stay consistent. And, obviously the season just being a lot longer, it's a lot different, but have to see how your body holds up. Hopefully no injuries for guys and stuff like that. But we had a pretty good team those 2 years I was in Hartford, and luckily enough I had some good line mates as well. Oscar Lundberg I play with a lot, and JT Miller when he wasn't up at the Rangers, when he'd be down, I played with him a lot also. So
yeah, and then after being in Hartford, you then moved to Chicago with the Wolves, having signed with St. Louis, and again led the team in goals. If you've got a sort of an AHL resume, a bit of time with Hamilton, Hartford, and Chicago, that's some strong AHL teams there with a lot of history, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. I think both spots were really fun. Chicago, they have really good ownership and stuff there. They care a lot, a lot about their players. It was a great setup, and it's obviously a great city to live in. And Hartford, obviously, being part of the Rangers system and an original six team was a lot of fun too. Playing, obviously, they used to have an NHL team in Hartford there, the Hartford Whalers. So you're playing in a rink that's seats 18 to 20,000. So you get that NHL feel. Maybe there's not 20,000 people in the rink, but a good 15,000 people on a good night. So it's a lot of fun.
It's almost as if you looked at my notes, because we were the next thing is about how Chicago treats their players really well, and we hear a lot of good stories about that franchise. Is that genuinely the case, as you've mentioned there?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that owner's got a lot of money, and he really cares. I think that's why you see Chicago Wolves is one of the better. It's a privately owned American League team, so just the lounge and stuff there. You get breakfast, lunch every single day. They just do a really good job. I think it's really professional organization.
Yeah, there's certainly a lot to be said for putting players in the right spots and making them feel comfortable, for sure. if you look back over that time, that's 3 AHL seasons with some really good success there. But no time in the NHL. That must have been frustrating to you as a player, having had that success at North Dakota and at the World Championships. You just didn't crack that NHL spot.
Yeah, obviously it was a little frustrating, and that was kind of my decision after that fourth year that I went over to Europe and went to Russia. But it's tough. There's a lot of good hockey players, and I didn't have any hard feelings. When I was with New York, I for the most part play right wing, and they looked at me and they're like, well, we got Rick Nash, Matt Zuccarello, and Marty St. Louis on the right side. So unless one of these guys gets hurt, like we want you to just go develop in Hartford. So that's what I did. But a lot of times it's about timing and breaks and stuff like that. But I have no regrets.
If those are the three guys keeping you out of the roster, that's a pretty solid three, to be fair.
Yeah, it's pretty tough to be mad about that. So.
Yeah. And you mentioned there that you moved on, and the part of that reason for coming over to Europe was sort of like the time in the NHL. What was it like playing in the KHL that first season coming over? We hear a lot of stories about sort of the KHL. What's it like as an import there?
Yeah, it's obviously a big change from playing in the U.S. and we only had two other imports that spoke English, so for the most part, it's all Russian speaking, like stuff like that. But I had a really good line mate that spoke English, and he kind of translated everything for me. And when the coach was talking, but I think it was a really good experience. It's a really good league, and it's a experience probably most people can't say. I lived in Russia for a year. My second year, I lived in Moscow, about 10 minutes from Red Square, which was a lot of fun. So.
Yeah, that's a good experience to have, and I think you've kind of taken that on even further with what if you look through your CV, it's almost like hockey tourism. You've got a lot of different leagues. You've played in pretty much every top league in Europe. I think there's even a little bit of a guest in the Spengler Cup as well for Davos. I mean, that it must be good to see so many different places and cultures whilst getting to play hockey for a living.
Yeah, I think that's the most fun thing about playing in Europe is just being able to travel the world and get to live in a bunch of different spots. Like you said, I've lived in Sweden, Germany, Czech, Switzerland. It's been a lot of really cool places and cool experiences that you can take moving forward with your life, because obviously hockey ends one day and there is a life after hockey. So.
Ed.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And last season you started off in Slovakia, but you then ended up checking off the UK from that list. How did that move to the Steelers end up coming about? And what did you know about UK hockey at that time?
Yeah, I've had a couple buddies that have played over in that league, and everyone always had really good things to say about it, just the culture and living experience, and said the hockey's pretty fun and stuff like that. So it was just kind of a change in Slovakia. They fired the coach that originally liked me, and then they brought a Slovakian guy in, and Sheffield was looking for another skilled forward, so it just was kind of the right time. So.
Yeah, fair enough. And it seemed like, and we commentated on you a fair bit last year, Danny. It just seemed like you always popped up in those big games, in the later rounds of the Cup, into the playoffs there. You're always popping up with a goal. You're always making a play. Would you say you're the kind of player that thrives in those big situations?
Yeah, I think there's obviously certain people that like those different situations and like the big stage. I think I'm definitely one of those people, just with the games like that I've played in throughout my life, like you said, Spengler Cup, World Juniors, World Championships, stuff like that. I think the bigger the stage is, the better I usually play. So hopefully we can continue that this year moving forward.
Yeah, and obviously we'd be remiss if we didn't ask you what your experiences of the Sky Dome were like as a visiting player, because it can be a pretty interesting place to play if you're not the home team, eh?
Yeah, it's definitely it's a tough place to play for sure. And I think obviously with the ice sheet being a little bit smaller, and when you're used to like, especially like myself, Sheffield rink is so big and it's Olympic, and then to have to go in and kind of play more of a tight checking kind of ball up game, and power play looks different just because the ice sheet's a little bit smaller, but it's definitely a tough rink to play in.
And tell us about that conversation that you had with Danny in the summer. What did he throw out there that sold the Coventry Blaze to you as a destination for this year?
Well, I think kind of just the conversation we had of what he's expecting from myself and the team and stuff like that was a lot of good things he had to say. Obviously, I know we're a pretty young team, and I think I need to come in and hopefully be a leader for this team this year. And, I like that as well. And, I just think as far as, what we discussed of, my role and stuff like that, and probably who I'm going to play with and whatnot, I think I just have a lot to offer, and I think it's going to be a really good season.
For sure. Stu?
Yeah, if you have you kept up to date as much with the roster being assembled so far? Because I know some guys will look at it very intensely, like, who am I going to be playing with, and other guys will find out when they step through the dressing room door. What are your thoughts on the roster so far?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you can only control what we can control, and that's the only thing I can control is myself and my play. So, whatever coach thinks is going to be the best fit for the team, who's playing where and whatnot. I think something you got to respect and go from there. And it's the start of a new season, so everyone's got 0 goals, 0 assists right now. So I think the key is just to go out and work hard and try to get better every single day.
And you mentioned it just a moment ago that you are you're kind of the veteran guy now on the team. But does that actually really change anything for you personally, in terms of maybe how you approach or how you potentially would act in the locker room, etc.?
No, I think you obviously just want to be yourself in the locker. For me, I'm usually a pretty outgoing guy. I love being in the locker room and joking around with the guys. I'm usually the last to leave every single day. So, I'm more of an outspoken guy. And, I like to joke around with the boys and stuff like that. So I think you just go into the season and you just want to be yourself and be a good teammate.
And having spent the last year with Sheffield and playing in the Elite League and realizing that it is perhaps a little different in the UK to other leagues across Europe and in North America, do you think that's going to help you prepare over this summer in advance for the sort of second year in the Elite League?
Yeah, I think whenever you're going back to the same league, I think it's obviously it helps. That the coaches and the players in the league, the rinks, the locker rooms. It's just almost like a more of a comfort thing. Like, okay, we're going to Manchester. This is gonna be a tough game. Stuff like that. It's a small sheet there, and the crowd gets going. It's not the most fun place to get to rest either. So it's obviously very cold in that rink. But I think anytime you have a familiarity, it's good just to be going back to a league for a second time. So.
And there are a couple of other players who sort of played around the Elite League last year. Blake Thompson, Ian McNulty. You'd have played against them last year as well. Do you think it'd be good to have them on your side this year?
Yeah, I think so. Those guys are both good players. So, obviously during the season, you meet guys on the ice or whatever. But for the most part, most hockey guys are good guys anyway. So. At one point, you might be teammates one year, and the next you might be enemies. So it's a small hockey world, though.
Very true.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, it really is, isn't it? I mean, it's incredible. When you talk to guys ahead of the year, and you say, oh, why Coventry? And oh, well, I played college with this guy who played in Coventry, and blah 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 blah. And you get talking. It's such a small world. And for you as well, you've played a lot outside of the US. Presumably you've got your preparation down to a T. No pun intended, because you're filming this outside the first tee of a golf club, of course. But how are those preparations going, Danny? Because I mean, it's only a few days before you hop on a flight, right?
Yeah, I think this summer's been really good. I'm working out 4 or 5 times a week, and then I've been skating about 3. And the great thing about living in Minnesota is there's so many hockey players here. So like today, I think had the option of 3 or 4 different skates, kind of what you want. There's a goalie skate today. Could have went and just shot pucks. There's 3-4 European skates, and then Octagon is an agency that their pro camp just started this week. So skated there last week and this week. So I'll get 3-4 more good skates before I head over.
It's interesting because there's quite a lot of stuff in social media about McDavid playing a little bit of beer league just like last week or something. But it's actually surprising how common, top end guys going out and playing around is, right? It's actually part of everybody's prep.
Sorry, this guy's a little loud. Sorry about that. One more time.
Yeah, we were just saying, talking about playing a little bit of summer league, playing around with some of the boys. Guys were getting really excited that McDavid was playing some beer league with his buddies not that long back. But it's surprisingly common, isn't it? Particularly when you play in a hockey hotbed like in Minnesota.
Yeah, for sure. And there's a league here, they call it the Beauty League, which is a lot of fun. We just finished that up last week. But all the benefits and everything go to charity and the ticket sales. So I think the final on we had it last Wednesday. My team ended up winning, but I think there's over 2,000 people there. So that's Minnesota for you. Even if it's midsummer or something like that, you can still get 2,000-3,000 people just go watch a little summer skate.
Yeah, awesome. Danny, thank you so much for putting a little bit of time aside to do this. Really appreciate it. And have you got a tea time book to run to, or how you spending the rest of the day?
Yeah, no. Wednesday I actually usually take off. It's my one day I usually take off of golf. So no, I just had a little workout and skate this morning, and then the state fair is actually going on right now. So I'm just gonna probably go to the state fair tonight with my girlfriend.
Right on. That sounds good. Guys, thank you so much for joining us here once again on the Blaze TV podcast. From Kimberley, Stu Coles, Danny Kristo, everybody here. We'll see you in a week or two. Bye for now.